And we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to Stop Interviewing, Start Selling. I'm your host, Philip Meyer. Today, we have literally, so if you go to the dictionary and you open up Master of Analogies, you
Do this.
may or may not see Kevin Ludlow's picture here, but Kevin is an amazing sales trainer, amazing sales rep, and I'm super happy to have him on the show. Kevin, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. It's good to see you. Number one, you and I haven't actually seen each other face to face in a while
Yep.
via Zoom, but this is the new normal, right? And
Yeah.
I appreciate you thinking about me and reaching out, and I was excited to do it.
Yeah, well, I'm super stoked to have you. Obviously, we had Julia on a while back. You and her go way back. Uh, I still need to send her a trophy for most viewed episode ever. So
Oh, well, sir, challenge accepted.
that
Challenge accepted.
there you go. That's why I said it. So, but yeah, so you've been in sales for quite some time, and I kind of want to get some feedback from you and just let our listeners know what your background is, where you're from, what got you into this kind of work, and then I got a few more questions after that. So go ahead, take it away, Kevin. Let us know who Kevin Ludlow is. What makes you the man, the myth, the legend?
Oh man, you don't want to go too deep down that black hole of how I became who I am, but it's been a long journey. I went to college originally for teaching, and when I graduated from college, there really wasn't much going on in the sense of teaching jobs. Right, we were in the middle of the Great Recession, and people were really holding on to those tight. So I had student loans, and I just kind of hustled and did what I could, worked multiple jobs to make sure I was paying my bills. And then a friend of mine actually was working for UniFirst, and I kind of saw what he was doing, and it seemed interesting to me. And it's so funny, right? After you're in sales for a while, you think about it, and you hear people say the line, "Oh, you've got a great personality for sales," or "Oh, you'd be good in sales." And the reality is, you have no idea, right? If you're saying you have a great personality for sales, I've seen such successful salespeople with not really great personalities, right? But regardless, I said, do you think you get me an interview? And he said, yeah, absolutely. And he actually ended up getting me an interview with Stephanie Cradle. She was the hiring manager at that time. So
Oh
me and
wow.
Stephanie go way back. Yeah, she was the first person from UniFirst I ever spoke to, and we're still good friends. I ended up getting the job there, and I did that for a couple of years. And then, you know, as I was going through sales training with Julia, actually, she was my sales trainer. Uh, I realized that was something that I was really interested in, and I felt like it really was a parallel between sales and some of the education aspect that I was really interested in and was passionate about. So as soon as a position opened for that, I went for it, and I was very fortunate to get it. I learned so much doing that, and it was still one of the best jobs I've ever had. Loved my team, loved working with the people that I did, loved helping to develop people, and loved getting to meet people like you. Right, just I still think about all the time. Whenever I think about you and when we first met, I always think about the Arnold Schwarzenegger impression that you did at the AVS class,
Yeah.
which is still top notch, top notch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and then from there, I got to a certain point where I felt like I was ready for a new challenge. I kind of missed the field a little bit. I missed the sales aspect of things. And I wanted to go into more of a leadership role. So I took a sales management position up in Nashua.
I remember
Uh,
that.
yeah, which I really, really enjoyed, to be quite honest with you. That was a cool blend of leadership and training, but also being able to get out in the field and to sell again, right? And to talk to people and to figure out the puzzle of what are your challenges, what are your goals, and how do we piece things together to get there, right? How do we figure this out together and partner to achieve our mutually beneficial end game? At that point, my son was born, Miles. He's just about 2.5 now, and
And congratulations, by the way. I see
thank you.
your post on Facebook, and He's a cutie pie, man. He's gonna be a lady killer when he grows up for sure.
Oh man, well he's a maniac too. Just like and like I knew it was gonna be the case. As soon as I knew I was having a boy, like I was such a maniac as a kid too. And I was like, this kid's gonna be exactly like me. But he's such a sweetheart. He's just got a brain that never stops moving, which is it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
But it's exhausting. It's definitely exhausting. Here we are. I'm drinking a coffee at 8 o'clock at night because I want to make sure I'm bringing my A game and I'm doing better than Julia here. More views. That's really my goal. But we're gonna keep circling back to that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, my son was born during that time, and ultimately after some pretty hard discussions, my wife and I decided that we wanted to move back to where I was originally from, which is the Hudson Valley here. And, we wanted to raise my son around family. And, one of the hardest things that I ever did was to tell my team, a lot of them were somewhat new, and we were really starting to gel, and we were on our way to pretty big things. And it was really, really tough for me to walk away from that. But you have to choose family over career. You have to. And that's what I did. And then I was very fortunate to be able to end up at Bausch Shalom, where I am today as a territory manager for them. So it's been a long, winding road, man. I've done a lot. I've been in and around sales for several years now, and I don't think that I could do anything else at this point. But I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's awesome. That's the same way that I feel too. In fact, I just went to my niece's wedding in Sacramento, California, about a week ago. By the way, like I've said this on Facebook, but if you don't have any Greek friends, you should go make some because Greek weddings are lit. Like it was an absolute blast. But I was talking to one of her friends about a sales opportunity with our Sacramento branch. And I was explaining to her kind of what the deal was and all that stuff. And I just remember being a brand new rep and thinking to myself, what did I get myself into? I mean, I'm selling laundry. Like it was the weirdest feeling ever. But so my first question to you, Kevin, because I kind of went through a transition from being a sales rep to a sales manager, then back down to being a sales rep voluntarily. But I'm wondering from your standpoint, as a sales rep going into sales training, for literally a Fortune 400 company on the list of the best 50 companies to sell for. Was that intimidating to you at all to go and host those classes in Boston and like stand there in front of people that had a President's Club ring on and been to like a whole bunch of trips and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, the first few classes definitely were. The first time I was ever at a video conference, I was terrified about what people thought of me. And, I was like, oh, I sound like an idiot and no one's going to believe anything I'm saying here. And you have that mentality of I'm a fraud. What am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be here, but you fight through that. Right. And you have to have a little bit of blind confidence, even if it's undeserved, right? In any sales role, you just kind of have to do it. Right. Yeah. And the more you do it, the easier it gets and the more confidence you gain and you get feedback and you tweak things and, eventually it's a well-oiled machine. But yeah, to sit there and say it wasn't intimidating, I would be lying to you.
Yeah, I can imagine because I remember going just to AVS, which if those of you just listening to this episode, you haven't heard any of the previous ones. AVS is Advanced Value Selling. It's a class that UniFirst offers to reps to go to corporate and train. Not to every rep, mind you. That's what I'm getting at is like I remember sitting in front of you, Julia, and Stephanie, and thinking, I don't think I should be in this because there are people that were way more accomplished, way more tenured than me. I mean, they were talking about, codes of the items that we use. I was like, I have no idea what that is. So it was
syndrome, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then going from sales training, getting back in the field, I completely understand that because like I had a sales job in between my tenure with UniFirst. They kind of didn't let me prospect as much as I would have liked.
Yeah.
And there's a bug almost to it. And when you say that you don't see yourself doing anything else, I don't see myself doing anything else either. Yeah. I just want to be in sales forever.
I just
So,
wanted to make a comment about that. I love your videos that you post on LinkedIn, and I'll
oh,
watch
thank
them.
you.
I get motivated because what I'm doing at this point, I'm really not doing a ton of prospecting, right? I'm in more of a territory management role, although there is still some, hey, these practices really aren't doing any business with us.
Mhm.
Let's get in there and start a relationship with them. But one thing that was always really exciting was that prospecting aspect, but it was also terrifying. And I admire and absolutely love the way that you approach prospecting because it seems like something that you just absolutely love to do. And dude, like knowing what it takes, knowing the energy that's involved, knowing how many times you get your teeth kicked in and people are just rude for no reason. Um, I know it's not the easiest thing in the world, but you just have this super positive mentality towards it. You're really confident when you're doing it and you're talking about it, and it inspires me. And I'm sure it inspires a lot of the people that you work with at Universe too.
Oh, thanks, man. I hope so. Honestly, I mean, I mostly do it to. Sorry, let me turn this phone off. I mostly do it because like it's so weird. I told this story previously, but I started posting videos and pictures on LinkedIn because I wanted to motivate myself and kind of keep
Yeah,
myself accountable and just kind of put myself out there. And I was at AVS, and there was a sales manager that was there. This is just after I moved out to Idaho, and she goes, "You're that LinkedIn guy." And she comes over to me. She starts talking to me. I was like, what are you talking about?" And she goes, "There's probably not a single person," her words, not mine, like in this company that don't know remotely who you are because of what you're posting. I was like, "Nah, that's not true." And up until that point, I hadn't been paying any attention to views. And I looked at
yeah.
the views and I was like, "Man, people are actually watching this. This is crazy." But
How cool is that?
oh, dude, it's a blast. Like
Yeah,
it's super cool to be able to talk to people and have them actually recognize who I am
yeah.
and actually know that I have a passion not just for the business but for the art of sales itself, right?
What I'm just curious as to what was the driving factor behind you starting to do that, right? I'm always curious as to what's the catalyst? What's that one moment where you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this?
The whole LinkedIn thing or sales.
No. The whole LinkedIn thing. I'm sorry about that. We're
That's
both
okay.
having, you know what? Let's just cancel this thing, man. There's no way we're going to beat Julia. Um, let's see.
um
No, the LinkedIn thing, the making the videos. I mean, what was the moment where you were like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start doing this, and I'm gonna do it consistently.
um that's tough because like, I'm trying to think back to when I actually started posting because like in Sacramento I kind of did it at the end. It was just a really genuine before and after shot of my desk because I transferred from Sacramento to Idaho, right? And uh, I loved my team in Sacramento. I loved my branch manager. I loved my
Yeah.
sales manager. I loved my service guys. My service guys were legit. I just loved every one of them, and our CSRs. But I posted a video of a before and after shot. I just thought it was poetic, right? So I put that on there, wrote this whole um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a dedication to Sacramento's branch and their team, and that went crazy. Like when this manager told me about the views and stuff, I was like, well, I never paid any attention to what the views were, so I actually went back and looked at that, and there were over 11,000 views on that one post. Now
Wow.
I don't have 11,000 contacts.
Yeah.
I think I have like 500 or something like that. And then as I was at AVS with her, I kept posting pictures and it just kind of rolled off there. And then the really cool part that made me want to do it more was I was printing off a presentation. We had a mock presentation in front of the director of national sales, which was super intimidating. Uh, and I look in Will McDonald's office because he was actually sitting where the printer was. I look in and I see my face on his screen.
Mhm.
And I was like, that guy's looking at my post. So like I walked in, I was like, I know that guy. He turns around, he's like, oh hey man, how's it going? After that, I was like, well, hey, if people like this stuff, I'll just keep posting about it.
You're a
Um,
universal celebrity.
yeah, I try not to think of it like that because
I'm messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you. I know you don't do it for that reason.
yeah.
You're really inspiring with that stuff, whether it's the videos or the posts. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Don't worry about what anybody thinks or what anybody says. I think that you inspire a lot of people. You motivate a lot of people, and look, I don't even work for UniFirst, and I love watching those videos because I get pumped up. You so pumped up, you know?
Oh, thanks, man. My biggest fear is for like someone like Dave Katz or Steven Sintros to give me a call and be like, "Hey, you know that LinkedIn stuff you're doing? Just stop."
How would they
Like,
ever do that?
I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
great image for UniFirst.
Yeah. But you know what's funny about that too is I start looking at like other competitors and like other companies as far as their social media presence. And actually I got hit up by a recruiter for like a medical sales company.
Yeah.
And they were offering some pretty serious money. And I looked at this their LinkedIn page, I went to their social media, and I just realized that there's a lot of people in Universe like Allison Abbott, who is considered the queen of Universe LinkedIn. She's awesome. I had her on the podcast too.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in Universe that post about their job now. Not that I inspired that, but that there's people that are passionate about it, and it kind of makes them feel comfortable to do that too.
Yeah.
But coming back to the, see, I went off a tangent, but coming back to the recruiter, I looked at their social media and it wasn't even close. And what that told me was, what's the culture here? There's no transparency into how excited people are getting or to anything else. I mean, one of the other companies I've seen that's posted a lot on social media by the reps and by the entry level people is like Heartland Payment Systems or Paychecks or like other companies like that. And I go, see, those are companies I might consider more than somebody else that doesn't post anything on there, because there's no motivation, there's no inspiration, there's no excitement. That's just how I took it. I could be totally off about that, but
Yeah. So I think a lot of it too is in a lot of those companies you have people that are just starting out in their careers, right? A lot of people get into sales via companies like a Paychex or a UniFirst or a Cintas, where they're willing to give people that don't have experience a shot if they're hard workers and they're
right.
competent beings, right? And a lot of it, I think, is building your brand too. And I think probably a mistake that people make is when maybe they get to a certain point in their career where they think, hey, this is where I want it to be. They stop building that brand. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about myself and the fact that I really haven't done much on LinkedIn. Maybe I could just sit down with you one day and get the Phil Meyer school of LinkedIn. But
I'm not an expert. There's no school. It's just go
yeah,
for it. But yeah.
what you're doing is impactful, and I think that's the most important thing. You know, a lot of what I see on LinkedIn is, quite frankly, it's annoying. It's very staged. It's not authentic at all. You see the same things like written over and over again, just slightly tweaked to make it sound like these people are these inspiring superheroes that, you know, oh, somebody showed up with a ripped shirt and, you know, half a pant leg missing and different mismatched shoes, and I gave him the job on the spot because I like, what are you? That didn't happen, you know. And
Right.
everybody through that, but I think what's always going to shine through is authenticity and something that's organic. And I think that's why people, including myself, really like the stuff that you put on LinkedIn, because it is authentic and it's organic and it's not anything that's contrived um, or just put on there to get views. It just put on there to get more people looking at your profile, which, you know, that tends to be the name of the game with LinkedIn, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with any social media too, because I remember like I was teaching a martial arts class just a few weeks ago actually, and I was asking one of the students who's like maybe 10, 11 years old. I said, "Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?" I was trying to make a point about goal setting, right? And the kid goes, "I want to be a YouTuber." And I was like, "What? Hold on. Do you like what are you going to show people?" And I just like asked him. He's like, "I don't play video games and make funny comments. I'm going to make $1 million." And I was like, "Well, when there's kids that are 8 years old in India and they open up a box of toys and they talk about it, they make millions of dollars." I mean, the whole landscape for social media has completely changed. And now it used to be get the likes because of the psychological and the impact of somebody liking what you do.
Yeah.
Now it's all about the money. I mean, the more likes you, I mean, there's corporations I've heard that have been like, "Yeah, we just got to make a viral video." I'm like, okay, say that again, but slower. Like your video is not going to go viral. Like a viral video goes because someone organically likes that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, like if people didn't look at that post I made from Sacramento, I probably wouldn't have been as into it, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. Um, but jumping back to you, so going from a sales trainer now, right
Yeah.
now you're in the sales management spot. First of all, God bless you for that, because to be a sales manager is, I mean, that's a whole different ball of wax than what being a
Yeah.
sales rep is. So tell me more about that transition, challenges, cons, pros, all that stuff.
Yeah. So you always go into it overconfident, right? That's kind of been my MO my entire life is go into it overconfident. And sometimes you're going to get slapped in actually every single time you're going to get slapped in the face at some point, right? And you're going to realize there's a lot that you don't know. But I think you have to go into it overconfident. If you go into something not confident, you're setting yourself up for failure, right?
Yeah,
Not going in cocky,
yeah,
understanding that there's a lot to learn, understanding that there's a lot that you don't know, but also understanding that you're more than capable of doing well and executing well in this position. Um,
yeah. Hey, Kevin, give me
yeah,
1 second. I accidentally locked my wife out of the house. I'll be right back with you. Okay, sorry.
no worries.
Right back.
Do you want me to tell a story or?
Yeah, please, please,
No,
please,
I'm
please.
not gonna tell.
I'll be right back. Okay, sorry.
No worries, man. No worries. That's definitely an urgent situation.
Yes. Yeah, force of habit. I always come in through the garage because I never use the front door. So the front door is always locked. So I lock the garage door because I'm paranoid. But anyways, so
The
we were talking
the
about
the
sales manager, right?
Yeah, so going into the sales manager role, something about me, Phil, and a reason that sales has always been a good fit for me, whether it's training, managing, or being a sales rep itself, is that I can get bored easily, right? Like I have ADHD. I know that I do. Like that's what I was saying before. I knew my kid was going to be exactly like me. I just have a busy brain, and it's just going for good or bad, for better or worse. It's going, going, going. So I get to a point with certain positions sometimes where I say, I feel like maybe I need a new challenge, right? And I was at that point with sales training where I felt like I needed a new challenge. It was about 3.5 years in, and I said, all right, it's time. I need a new challenge. And I was taking a look at the types of things that I wanted to do, and where I wanted my career path to go. And, I saw the national sales role as something that would be really, really cool, right? Because I love the strategy of sales. That's what I like more than anything else is strategizing and figuring out the puzzle pieces to be able to create this big picture and help your customer, or in my case, your doctor that you're working with, your patient, reach that end goal or overcome that challenge that you originally discovered together, right? So I had a really good conversation with Joe Fleming, who I'm still very, very fond of, and Dave Katz. I mean, sales leadership at UniFirst is top notch. Like you
So
guys have such great people in those positions. And I feel really, really fortunate that I was able to work, especially with those two individuals, Dave and Joe, just because I have a lot of respect for them, but they also, in those high senior level positions, absolutely had no problem sitting down and talking with you and legitimately listening to you and taking your feedback into account and using it. So that was one
yeah,
of my favorite things about working at UniFirst. But I had a conversation with Joe Fleming, and I kind of said, hey, like, this is what I would like to do with my career. And he said, okay, here's what you're going to need to do to get there. You're going to need to be a sales manager for a while, and you're going to have to show me, and you're going to have to show the company um, that you can do well in this role, right? And then from there, we could talk about one of those national sales positions. So I said, perfect. Jumped on it again, going overconfident. I figured I had the training down, right? And a lot of it is, hey, you're bringing new sales reps on, train them. I knew I was going to be good with that. And I knew that I would be okay in front of customers, in front of prospects. I knew how to do that end from being a rep. But the whole management and leadership aspect of things, I mean, I was clueless. Of course I was, right? You learn those things in the job. And I read books, but reading books is not real life experience. You have to get your teeth kicked in, just like being a sales rep. And,
Yeah.
you either learn quick or you fail, right? And failure wasn't an option. I had a little baby at that point. And so I just learned things quickly, and I asked a lot of questions. And when I screwed up, I didn't do that again. And, eventually you get into a groove, and you start to see the meter, move a little bit. I think that's probably the most frustrating thing is when you're a rep, your immediate actions show immediate movement, right? And I'm sorry.
You're good.
Your immediate actions show progress, right? Or immediate movement on that scale, that the little hand on the meter moves. When you're a manager, you could be busting your butt and you could be doing everything possible, but if your team isn't executing, or if you don't have the right players on that team, or if maybe you're not doing your job of getting that message across, regardless of how hard you're working, you may not see those results, right? It may never come, or it may just take a lot longer than you're thinking it's going to take. So that was a frustrating part of it. But when I first started to see that meter move, and to see that my actions and my work with the team and developing those people was actually really starting to make change, and move the meter, and get our sales numbers up, and get our percent to quote as a team up, and getting people.
Uh-oh. Kevin? Oh, no, guys. I think I lost Kevin. Oh, no. Let me see if I can bring him back. Hold on. Everybody stand by. Let's see if I can bring... Oh, you got to be kidding. I got to sign in now. Oh, wait. Hold on. Maybe. I don't know if you guys can still see me, but I'm hoping I can get him back. No. Go back to this. I don't know if you guys can see this, so if you can, I apologize for the... I'll try to edit this out, too, because I don't know why I'm saying that if I'm going to edit it. Oh, no. I bet he reached out to me on my phone, too. He did. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. And it won't let me get him back. Oh, wait. Maybe it will. Hold on. Stand by, everybody. Hold up. Recipients. Type this in again. I'm not going to give his email address out. Oh. Come on. Oh, oh no. Okay. Hold on a second. Now it's being all slow. It's being stupid. Guys, literally, this part has never, ever happened. I'm telling you, I suck with computers. Kevin just sent me a private message. He said his computer's restarting now. It's uploading. Oh, he's gonna change laptops. Oh no. Oh. But who knows? This might get him his goal. This might get him more views than Julia, because this is like a crazy thing that's happened. Well, anyways, while he's trying to re-upload, I guess I'll share with you guys a quick story as well. I really wanted Kevin to talk more because I talk too much. I've already talked way too much this podcast. You're probably tired of hearing me by now. But I remember being a sales rep, and then having a sales manager. This is to Kevin's point of being a leader, right? And I had a sales manager named Jason who hopefully I'll have on the podcast here in the future. But I just remember my head spinning around like crazy when I went out into the field for the first time. Um, hang on, let me write Kevin back. Telling stories. Oh goodness. Okay. I remember being out in the field and just not knowing where to go and not having any idea what to do. And it wasn't until I called my sales manager and just told him, "Hey man, I don't think this is for me." And then he actually had spent time. He talked me down, and he pretty much explained to me what I should do next. And so, I mean, I definitely owe that guy a large portion of my career with Universe, the company I'm with now, because of that interaction. I was really hoping that we get to talk more about the sales manager thing with Kevin. He's just changing laptops now, so he's gonna come back. Maybe I can pause it. Let's see. And we got him back, everybody. He's back.
Yeah. I never should have said anything about Julia because I feel like he heard it and cursed this podcast. It's my first ever one, and I just want to be famous. We're doing what we can here, Phil. We're doing what
That's
we
right.
can.
That's right. Well, it gets funny because I was just thinking to myself, I don't know if I know how to edit these yet. Like I've never done it before. So literally when
We'll
you went
find
off my
out.
face, literally when you went off, I was just like, uh,
Yeah,
Kevin?
yeah. So it was like before, right? When you had to go let your wife in and you locked her out. I was just
I
like,
know.
do
I
I
know.
do I tell a story here? Do I
Yeah.
address the audience? But
I'm gonna have to learn how to edit after this for sure, because I'm
oh, this is the one. This
yeah,
this is the one where you learn how to edit, right? If
that's
you don't
right.
learn how to edit on this one, then you've just committed to that's real
Yes.
authentic podcast.
Yes, definitely.
Um,
I think what I'll do is
no, so sorry about
I'll go back and edit this one for YouTube, and then I'll make a website and put, if you'd like to see the uncensored version, please pay 25 cents or something like that.
no one wants to see the uncensored version.
No.
Absolutely ridiculous. But um, I think I was talking about just the transition to being a sales manager, and yeah, that was the biggest part, or the biggest change for me was just not seeing immediate results from your work, and having to be really patient with that. And salespeople by nature are not the most patient people in the world, right? And that's why it's always been fascinating to me that companies take these high performing sales reps and they say, we're going to promote you to a leadership position, which, I guess I see where they're coming from, right? Because you're doing well in this company, but the individual contributor role has absolutely nothing to do with leadership or management. And a lot of the times you get these square pegs that they're trying to fit in round holes, and it just doesn't work because you need patient people. You need people who are selfless, right? You need people
Right.
who are willing to work and develop people. And those are not always the traits of good salespeople.
No, that was I'm so glad you said that too, because that kind of fits in line with my experience, having gone from
Yeah.
being a sales rep. Like I think at the time I was a sales rep for a year and a half, and my sales manager had just left the company, and so there was a vacuum there, and we needed a sales manager desperately, which is the only reason I got the job, by the way. But my regional sales manager was like, "Hey, like I haven't." I'm just trying to be honest,
Stop.
but he goes,
True.
but my regional sales manager says, he goes, "Hey, how come I haven't seen your application come across for sales manager?" And I was like, "I didn't think I was qualified." He's like, "Well, you're already helping new reps. I mean, you helped uh, one rep in particular. You kind of took him under your wing, and now he's kind of close to going to President's Club. Maybe you should just step in." But the difference was, so I'm interested to hear this dynamic too, because for me, I simply inherited the team that I was already working with as a rep, and that
Yeah.
changed the relationship like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it was like, well, you used to sit next to me. Now you're telling me my activity levels are low. What's wrong with you? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
what was it like coming in? Because I'm sure that those same reps had probably seen you as a sales
Yeah.
trainer. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
but
I
you probably
think
walked in
actually,
with like people just looking at you like you're a star, right?
Well, that was kind of the advantage of things, right? I had immediate credibility when I walked in before I had done or said anything, just because I was one of the first people that they worked with at UniFirst. So um, I would say somebody in your position that goes from a peer all of a sudden to a manager, that's got to be one of the most difficult pivots in all of business, right? Because you all of a sudden have to establish authority over these people that were your peers a minute ago, right?
Yeah.
Literally days ago, you guys were in the trenches together, and a lot of people really don't like that. So you have people that are pushing back just kind of for the sake of pushing back to test where your limits are. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I really didn't have to deal with that, man. I didn't have to deal with that. But one thing that I did have to deal with, Phil, that I'd like to hear your thoughts on was um, dealing with reps that have a ton of experience and are so set and ingrained in their ways that they kind of see you as this young punk kid and you can't teach me anything. It's very close-minded, but of course you do deal with some of those reps, right? What were your strategies on how to kind of get through to those people and be successful with them
Um,
in your experience?
so I think that's probably a better question for someone that they kind of inherited that, because at the time I was the most tenured rep out of the team. I
Okay.
mean, just being there for like a year and a half, you wouldn't think it was that long, but I think the next longest tenure was like 8 months, maybe. But the only real experience I had with that was we had a rep who was a bit older, and by a bit older, I mean he was a lot older than me. Um, and that was he was a super nice dude when I was a rep, and we would talk all the time and just kind of compare notes and stuff. And it wasn't until I looked at uh, the sales reports and everything else, and what his sales average was, what percent to quota that he was, and I was like, whoa, he's painting a totally different story than what's actually going on. So that was a really tough thing to overcome, and
Yeah.
that was really just me sitting down with him and going, look, this is the way that things are going to go. Okay, like I'm not going to try to be a hard ass with him or anything, or like try to push him and tell him what to do, because he'd been in sales for like his whole life basically. I
Mm.
said, but there are minimum expectations here that have to be met. If you can make those, you still got a job. I mean, I want to see you go further because I want to go further in my career, and I want to see you succeed. Like I don't want to butt heads. So this is what the minimum expectations are. Let's get your averages up to this in the next 5 weeks, next quarter, next 6 months, and then we'll see what's going on after that. Right. But that was tough. I mean, you probably had to deal with that more though, right?
I dealt with that a little bit, not as much, just because after you take over a team, you you either coach up or coach out, right? People are either a good fit for the team or they're not. And then from there, you kind of get to hire the people that you know or that you feel will be good fits for the team. And I never, you know, I don't mind experience, right? There was a lot of sales managers that I worked with at UniFirst that hated taking people with a ton of experience. They only wanted brand new, fresh off the streets. Some never had been in sales, right? I was okay with taking people with experience. I like that because there's less I have to teach you if you have the right experience. And the other thing too, in the interview process, I made it blatantly clear that I'm going to be your manager, and I know that I'm younger than you, and I know that I have less experience than you, but we're not going to be successful if we're not able to work together, and you're going to have to take direction from me, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be your father. I'm not going to be stern with you. The relationship is going to be different than that. It's going to be a partnership. However, I do need you to be able to take direction from me, and is that going to be a problem? Right? Because I guess I was fortunate to have that experience as soon as I took the team over, where I did have a rep, and I won't say any names, but I had a rep, and that rep had been in sales for a very long time, and that rep thought that they knew how to do everything best, and they were struggling big time, and it took a lot of butting heads and a lot of just repetition until finally that rep kind of opened up to me, and they were just like, okay, I'm ready, help me to be successful. And unfortunately, it was a little too late at that point, although we did help that rep get to a place where they were doing, they had a respectable sales average, and they were doing okay. And then they ended up actually transferring to a different team just from a geographical move. But that was really, really difficult, really, really difficult. And I don't envy anybody in that position. So I'm always looking for how people handle that type of situation.
Yeah, like I'd be curious to talk to like Brian Parker, who's a President's Club Achieving Sales Manager. Because I mean, he works with President's Club reps on his team constantly. Like a Joey Hall might be good to talk to. Shout out to Joey, by the way. We actually talked yesterday. He called me and we were just chatting. And I kept asking him, when are you going to do the podcast? He's like, oh, I'll think about it. So Joey, come on the podcast. You'd be amazing.
Joey.
Yeah.
I miss Joey Hall. There's so
Oh,
many people, that's what was really hard to walk away from first to there was just this huge cast of characters and all these great friendships that I made. And part of the coolest thing about sales training, right, was when we would hold these big classes and all these people from all over the country, these like legends that you had heard about, right, came in and you got a chance to talk to them and you realized that number one, they're real people. And number two, a lot of them were just awesome, right? Just great to hang out with and have great conversations with, and you become good friends with them. And that was tough to walk away from that. Really, even going away from the training role into the sales manager role, I was really walking away from interacting with those people on a regular basis. So I miss a lot of those guys, man. Joey Hall is one of them. He was a great guy. I really loved working with him. I loved working with you, Phil. That's why I jumped at the chance as soon as you said, hop on my podcast. I said, when do you need me, man? Next day, here I am, right? I said, how high?
absolutely. And I really appreciate that. Totally. So
Yeah, of course.
I can recall an instance I had when I realized maybe being a sales manager was more than what I was able to do at the time, given my experience. And I think I was sitting down with my branch manager at the time, and I was just like, I miss being a rep, dude. Like I really miss it. And he was like, why? I said, well, number one, there's less reports you got to do, right? Because I mean, that's a lot of attention to detail that you have to figure out, and there's a huge learning curve there. But two is salespeople get into sales for two reasons, right? Number one is more freedom, because we're not going to micromanage you. We're not going to be looking over your shoulder all the time. Two is for the ability to make money, right? But I've always said that there's a third ingredient that goes with that to create the success, and that's self-motivation and discipline. Because there were a lot of times where, like, I talked to one rep of my team. We're sitting down, we're discussing very, very low sales average. I won't mention his name. But I remember asking him, so do you feel like this is your thing? I mean, how do you feel? And he's like, sometimes I just don't want to get out of the car. I just don't want to go hit cold calls. Like I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. and send emails. I don't want to go to my territory by 7:30. I'm kind of scared of walking in. And I'm like, I get it, but this ain't for you. And that was a very tough conversation. I think that moment I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to being a sales rep. And it's funny too, because now I look at the landscape of sales and I see it changing from, because like the old model used to be you sell, you pay your dues, make as much money as you can, and then you move up to a more stable platform as sales manager or sales trainer or regional sales manager, whatever company that you happen to be in. That's kind of what the business model was. Now, though, I think what people are realizing is when you're a sole contributor, if you give us accolades and you give us the ability to make more money than our sales managers do, or even than our branch managers do, guess what? We're going to stay right there and keep hitting home runs, right? Like I guarantee you, at the peak of his career, Tom Brady, if he was to go to Bill Belichick and go, hey, no, I've really been thinking about being a coach, Bill Belichick would have lost his mind. He'd be like, are you, what? No, go win more Super Bowls. Come on, you're going to help me get to this spot, right? He doesn't want him to be a coach. He's going to keep him in that spot forever. Because as much as I'm a Niners fan, and as much as my fellow Niners fans say that Joe Montana was the greatest of all time, it's pretty tough to have that argument now. So,
is up there, but there's no way he's the greatest of all time.
No, definitely not. But anyways, my point is, actually, my question to you is, do you see that with like your own company now? Do you feel like uh, like just sales reps are incentivized to stay at where they are and not move up?
I do. I do see that. The nice thing about where I am right now at Bausch and Lomb, and I really, really love working for this company. I feel so fortunate to come in at the time that I did too, just because like as I was stepping into the door, they were in this process of this giant just turnaround of this company. And since then, just launched multiple products. We've completely changed the way that we're perceived in the market. So that's been really cool to be a part of. Um, and I feel like I just kind of stepped in the door at the right time. But they provide you with a path, right? And they say if you want to go down this path, here's how you can get there, right? And make sure you're having open, candid conversations with your managers and leaderships. Volunteer for as much as possible. Let it be known. That's the big thing, right? If you have a place that you want to be, if there's a goal in mind for a certain position, communicate that, right? Because we learn early on in sales, you don't get what you don't ask for, right? So ask for it. Let people know, hey, this is what I would like to do eventually. This is where I'd like to be. And then people will start to, if you're performing well, obviously, people will start to put you in positions to get to get more notoriety, to get more exposure in the company, for people to interact with you that are in the right places, so that when the time comes, you can kind of make your way up to that position. But at the same time, if you are happy with what you're doing, they absolutely do incentivize you and continue to find new ways to incentivize you to be a territory manager. And there's plenty of people that want to continue doing that. And that's not, I think, something that's changed, a perception that's shifted in sales in general, just like you were talking about. I think it used to be that people thought that the people that just wanted to be sales reps forever were just maybe content, or they didn't really have any motivations to have or to do better with their career. But the reality is that's not the case at all. It's just that that's what they love doing, and maybe that's what they're best at, and they just want to continue to grow in that role and continue to be better every day in that role. And look, there's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of pride in that, right? You shouldn't be, I guess, diminished, or people shouldn't think of you as not being a motivated individual just because you want to stay where you are, but you want to continue to do it better and learn how to be better in that role. And I think we are seeing that change. I think we are seeing that perception shifting, just like you were talking about. So that's a good thing. I think for the industry as a whole, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so too, because I mean, my dad asked me one time, he's like, you ever give any more thought to jumping up to being a sales manager? And I was like, I mean, as long as I'm hitting a home run, as long as I'm making decent money to survive, as long as I'm happy as a sales rep, I don't have that much responsibility outside of my family, right? So I think that's the other attractive part of it too. I was talking to I mention him all the time, the legendary Bill Wise with Unifirst, who's been President's Club.
Yeah,
I
good
think
dude. Good dude.
I think this year is his 19th time, so he's just incredible. But we had a long conversation. I wish he'd come on the podcast, because I'd love to rehash this conversation and have everybody listen to it. But he was really enlightening too, because he went from sales rep, and this is on his LinkedIn page too, so I'm not giving out any secrets, but he kind of moved around in the company a little bit as far as management, and then he dabbled in national sales, then major accounts, and then went back to being a sales rep ultimately, and was just like, I'm happy. And I'm like, you know what? That, to me, like, if my face was to go up on the wall of fame at Unifirst and I just stayed just a sales rep for the rest of my career and made decent money, I'm totally okay with that. Because once again, I feel like a lot of companies, they really incentivize people, especially entry level. And that's what a lot of recruiters are telling me now too, is like, one question I asked a recruiter was, so how often does somebody ask you about upward mobility? And she's like, I mean, it comes around, but really it's just how much money can I make at this spot? And I'm like, that's the thing, man, because if you can make good money and have about this much responsibility as far as leading other people, or have none at all. I mean, that's for a lot of people, that's happiness, right? But I get that there are those people that do want to be a sales manager. They do want to lead. They have a, a passion for coaching, right? Or they want to go be a regional or GM, be more on the service side and all that stuff. I mean, I totally understand. There's different motivations. So
Yeah. And something you said before was pretty interesting. You said just a sales rep. And I think we have to get out of that mentality.
yes, I agree.
Look, man, it's not just a sales rep. Sales is the entire revenue driver for a company. So just a sales rep is one of the most important positions in any company, right?
Mhm.
So get away from the whole just a sales rep thing and
Yeah.
seeing it as a step down from a manager, and see it as an incredibly important role in this larger cog that we're in, you know?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So quick story for you on that, because I feel like when I make a deal and I close a business, get them signed up and I know their service is going to be taken care of. They're going to be awesome. That's a rush to me. It's almost like a drug. Not really. Don't comment and say I talked about drugs. But one of the coolest things I've ever done is when I came up to Idaho, we have a brand new RSR who like just started with us, and we started selling disposable masks, right?
Yeah.
And he got a
Good
question.
time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And he got a question from one of his customers that was asking if we did that, and I said, yeah, we do it. And he goes, okay, well, can you talk to him? I went, why don't you talk to him? He's like, well, can I sell? I went, yeah, you can sell. And he goes, well, I just think you'd be better quality. I said, look, I'll coach you through it. Okay, let's role play. I took him through a whole role play of what he was going to say, what he's going to price the masks out. He made the deal. And it was amazing to see this like excitement in his eye go, oh, I just made myself money in like 20 minutes of a conversation and then like 20 minutes of training with you. Like that was incredible. I'm like, so now go do that again to all your other customers. And he's super excited about it now. So I was super excited to see him do that. But so back to the sales manager thing, I see how people can get into that, because that was my favorite part of it, honestly, was coaching people and seeing them grow. But
Yeah.
ultimately the pressure of that spot compared to where I was at previously, I just don't think I was ready for it. So I went back down to being a rep. So
It's a totally different role, man. You know,
yeah.
it's night and day. And to think that somebody that really loves the sales rep position and is really good at it is just going to, seamlessly step into a sales manager role, unless they're exhibiting those specific qualities that make a good leader, or those specific qualities that make somebody good for that sales manager position. It's not necessarily going to be smooth, right? They may absolutely hate it, and we see it all the time. It's trial and error, I'm sure, right? You never really know who's going to work and who won't, until you get them into a certain position. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I feel like that was big of you to admit to yourself that, hey, this is not actually what I want to do. I want to go back to that, because I think a lot of people would let their pride get in the way, Phil. I do. I think a lot of people would sit there and say, oh, people are going to see this as a step down, or this is a failure for me. But the reality is, it was just you admitting to yourself that it wasn't what you wanted to do. And you were brave enough and able to put your pride aside, and look at you now, man. Now you're happy again. You're doing what you want to do. You
Yep.
got your own podcast. This is basically like Joe Rogan, right? You got really famous like Kevin Ludlow. So this
That's
is, you're
right.
doing it.
That's right.
You're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the podcast has been something really, really interesting, because I feel like it gives, like, one of the things I've always said about back when I first started at UniFirst, I didn't know what President's Club was. I didn't even know what it was about. And now that I've been with UniFirst for a combined like almost 5 years, I talk to people that have gone to President's Club, and some of the stuff they tell me, I'm like, I had no idea that it was like this, or it was like that, or that you had to do this to get there. I mean, it's very, very enlightening to be able to do that. But what's cool about it too is when I listen to it back, it helps me with like my speech and my presentation skills, because the first couple episodes I listen to myself, I'm like, I can't believe I said that. Like, why did I say it that way? Or why was my tone that way? Is that what my real voice sounds like? That's weird. So it's really helpful to be able to have that conversation. If it takes off, awesome. If not, not a big deal, because I'm reaching out to people. And what's more too is I feel like I've had so many valuable conversations that I'm happy I published on LinkedIn and YouTube, because not everybody has the contact to reach somebody like Jason Parody in Canada, who was a great
Love
guest.
that dude. There's another guy I
Yeah,
miss.
that dude's awesome. I mean, not everybody has had the opportunity to talk to you, Kevin, or that even knows that you guys are approachable. Like, I mean, when I first talked to Bill Wise, I sent him a private message on LinkedIn, and I was just like, "Hey, do you have a couple minutes to talk?" And he's like, "Here's my cell phone." I was like, "Really? I can just call you?" Like, he's super approachable and super amazing. But he had so many great things to say, and I wish I could publish it publicly, because it's just absolutely amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just thinking about the first time I spoke to Bill Wise. I sent him an email, and he's definitely, you know him well now. He's definitely much more of a I want to talk to you face to face kind of guy. He's not a big email or texting guy or anything like that, right? He's old school like that. But I was intimidated, right? Because here's this guy with this crazy stack of awards and this record, and his face is on the wall of fame, and I had a tool of his that he had been using. I was in the sales training department, and Will wanted me to reach out to Bill and have Bill walk me through this tool that he was using. So I was like, okay, hey, Bill, typed up an email. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions about this? And, the email was super short, just like with you, right? Here's my cell phone. I'm just like, oh, man, like, what's this guy going to be like? As soon as I got on the phone with him, he's the nicest guy in the world, and he can
Yeah.
talk. And we've been on the phone for like an hour to an hour and a half. Some of it was talking about that specific tool he used. A lot of it was just kind of shooting the breeze and talking about life in general. But you don't know how approachable somebody is until you just reach out and talk to them. And one thing you said before, Phil, where you were saying, hey, I don't even really care if it takes off because I'm having all these valuable conversations. That's the recipe for success, man. At the end of the day, we started this podcast talking about authenticity and how people want things that are organic. And if you're doing something like a podcast to be successful, and you're saying, oh, I'm going to do this podcast because I want to be rich. Have you ever read The Alchemist?
That's the second time that book has been brought up to me this week. So I probably should, but no, I've never read it.
Okay, a good friend of mine got it for me for my birthday, and I read it, and it was a really really impactful book. I don't want to sit here and be that person that says it changed my life, but it was really really impactful, and I think that you would really like it as well. So there's my book suggestion for you. Go read The Alchemist. But um, if your intentions aren't pure with what you're doing, then you're not really going to do it to the best of your ability, right? And
Yeah.
if you're doing a podcast because you want to get rich, or because you want to be famous, or because you want the podcast to hit it big, well, then you're not really going to be focusing on the right things, right? Which are authenticity,
Yeah.
um, in organic conversations. But when you have a podcast like what you have here, where you're saying, I don't care if it takes off, I just want to have interesting conversations. Well, that's how it does take off, right? Because you have pure intentions, because all you really want to do is have conversations. And those are the types of conversations that people want to listen to. And even if only a few people are listening to them now, trust me, organically, it's going to grow, man. And I'm sure it already has from the beginning.
Yeah. I Number one, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. To to that note too, I was surprised because when Joey called me, one of the first things he said is hey man, I hear you talking about President's Club. I listen to your podcast all the time. I was like, you listen to my podcast? It's like, why do you listen to it? So it's just kind of interesting to see that. But yeah, to your point, like I just hope that it's like honestly, like if somebody calls me and says or reaches out to me on LinkedIn and they're like, hey man, I heard that episode with Kevin that really inspired me to kind of do things a different way or get into this. That's what I'm looking for, is really just to help somebody out. Like I know I talked to a lot of Universe guests. I don't want anybody to make a mistake. This isn't a Universe branded podcast. This isn't even though I'm wearing my Universe polo shirt, but it's really just people that I've made a connection to. Yourself, Julia, uh, J, Jason, everybody else I've talked to on the podcast that's been from Universe it's just been awesome. I just love that culture. But really it's just to kind of get a feel for different ideas. Like somebody I used to work for told me, there's not one person, one company, or one creator that has a lock on all the great ideas out there. And the more that we talk to each other, the more transparency we have with each other, the better that we're all going to get, right? And that's kind of what I'm looking to do. Like I'm hoping that, well, not hoping, because somebody corrected me on LinkedIn this past week and said, stop saying hopefully. Get that out of your mindset. So I'm going to do that. No more hopefully speak. This year, when I go to President's Club for fiscal year 21, I want to see everybody there that's listened to the podcast and goes, dude, what's up? You made it. Like that's my goal. So
that's great. That's a good goal to have. And language is powerful. So I think the people that are telling you to stop saying hopefully and, will it into existence, and
I'm going to look up
use the language that. What's that?
I'm going to look up
who said.
Yeah, that was let's see. I'm going to give him a shout out because let's see here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. I'm going to say his last name totally wrong. Jordan, I apologize. Jordan Grossclose. Thank you for saying that, man. And yes, Aruba will be epic. And also Beth Spanier. I probably said that wrong too. I'm sorry, Beth. I almost said Jason's name wrong. I'm sure he gets it all the time because it's spelled Paradis. And I forgot Parody. He's from Canada, so he's got that French thing in there, right? But yeah, so anyway, shout out to those people. Thank you for reaching out to me. Well, Kevin, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really enjoyed our conversation. I do have
one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say one thing I was thinking about was, so this is really my first podcast that I've done. And I appreciate so much you having me come on here, and I hope that you feel like, not hope. I'm going to say hope. I'm hoping that I brought some value. You feel like I brought something to the table here, but
definitely.
It felt like it took probably the first 20 minutes to get warmed up. You know what I mean? Where you forget there's a camera there and you're just having a conversation, you're having a chat. And, I wish I could take that first 20-minute chunk and just slice it out and then just get to the point where I felt comfortable and I got into my groove. But part of the process, right? Fall in love with the process.
That's right. That's what makes it authentic, honestly. Like you said before, I mean, that's what we attempt to do with the podcast and all that stuff. But real quick, before we end, I want to give a shout out to LinkedIn. At the end of every show, I say this: LinkedIn is not a sponsor of mine, but without LinkedIn, I would not be able to make the connections that I have with Kevin, with Julia, or keep those friendships and relationships going. I wouldn't be able to reach out to President's Club, Achieving Reps. I definitely wouldn't be able to get emails from a slew of recruiters that reach out to me and reach out to a lot of people undoubtedly. So if you don't have a LinkedIn page, you're listening to this on Facebook or YouTube, you're missing the boat. Go to LinkedIn, make yourself a LinkedIn page, reach out to me. Okay. Reach out, make a connection, send me a private message if you have questions, whatever. Kevin, you're on LinkedIn as well, right?
I am on LinkedIn, my friend. I got to update my profile picture though. It's a few years old now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's super old too. Yeah, well, dude, I was just gonna say, you seem like you're in really good shape. I remember the last time I saw you, you were drinking a protein shake, and you were right in front. You were walking past the cafeteria at corporate, and I was like, "Why are you drinking a protein shake? He's got the cafeteria right there. It's amazing food." But you were really dedicated to getting in really good shape, and you look great, man. You look fantastic.
I appreciate that, man. There was a certain point after I had my son where I was like, you know what? I need to get in really good shape because I need to make sure that I'm healthy for him. I need to make sure I'm here for a long time. And that was really the catalyst of me making some serious lifestyle changes. And it started with diet because I had no idea, I did have an idea of what I was eating, and I was not eating great food, but just small changes, cutting little things out here and there, not trying to do it all in one fell swoop. And then with exercise, it's just about consistency, man. It's just about consistency. So I was working out at the gym probably 5 days a week, and then COVID hit, gym shut down, and my wife has been working out from home for a while, and she said, "Why don't you try Beachbody?" Shout out Beachbody. And I was like, I don't know. She was like, just try this one program. And I tried it, and Phil immediately fell in love with it. I'm actually doing a boxing program right now. That's
Oh,
originally what got
nice.
me. You would really enjoy it, I'm sure. And it's fun. It's something that you're moving the entire time. You're always doing something different, and it's really effective. But most importantly, time management wise, and that was huge for me. It allows me to still live my life and to spend time with my family while being able to work out 4 to 5 times a week. And that was huge because there was a point where I was working out, but I was seeing my son for like maybe an hour a day. And I was like, I don't want to do this, man. Like this is not working. So I kind of shuffled around. And when I started working out from home, and now I'm starting to work out in the mornings instead, just waking up super early so that I can have my evenings to myself and be present with my family. It was huge, man. Just lifestyle changes, but you can
Yeah.
get there. You can. You look good too, bro. I feel like
Oh, thanks, dude.
your face used to be a rounder the last time I saw you. It feels like you've slimmed down, you've narrowed a little bit, you've got some chiseled features over there.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I actually feel like I'm really out of shape right now, but I actually started. Apparently, there's a name to it. It's called intermittent fasting, but I didn't know,
Yeah,
like I didn't know that's what it was called. So I would just skip.
yeah. I do intermittent fasting.
Yeah, like I would just skip breakfast and lunch. I've been doing that for the past 3 days in a row now. I feel great. It's really
Yeah.
weird. My buddy Jimmy in Sacramento, he actually told me one day, he's like, "What if you just skipped breakfast?" He's like, "Because breakfast food's BS anyway. I mean, what are you gonna eat? You gonna eat cereal? Or you're gonna go to Starbucks? You're gonna go to pastry? Or you're gonna go get a donut? You gonna drink like coffee or hot chocolate? Like, what are you gonna eat for breakfast besides eggs or steak? That's actually gonna be somewhat healthy. Then how often are you gonna prepare that on your own with your schedule?" I was like, you know what? You're right. He's like, just skip it. I was like,
Yeah.
I could do that. But for years, I've been told 3 meals a day, you should eat breakfast. It gives you the energy. I'm like, I feel as energetic as ever, and I feel skinnier because I've just stopped eating bull crap. And that's tough to do because, like, as an outside sales rep, dude, it's hard to meal prep. It's hard to like bring a cooler with you of stuff and drive around with it, and then not leave Tupperware in there, which I do all the time. It's
And then
just
it
easier
just
to think.
rots
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the hot
Yeah.
California sun.
Oh, dude, I remember one time I think my wife and I were just married, and I was actually getting in shape for the CHP Academy in California because I wanted to be a cop for a long time. And so I was trying to eat healthy. I was meal prepping and stuff, and I had this Tupperware of like just chicken bits I'd eaten chicken out of and broccoli, and it was sitting up on my dashboard one day. It was like 105 degrees outside, and the gas from dude, I swear it's a true story. The gas on the inside went pop, and it popped open. Dude, we had to pull over. I was like, this is chemical warfare. We can't
Oh, that's awful.
so bad.
That's awful.
Yeah.
That's You ever just forget a Tupperware in your car for a
Ugh,
while? It's still on and everything, and you don't smell it, but you look at it and you're like, nah, and you just throw it away. You're like,
yep.
it's not. Yeah, yeah, that's happened to me too. Yeah, the meal prep is tough, man, and being a
Yeah.
rep, being a sales rep, nobody tells you about like how hard it is to eat healthy when you're on the road
So
if you
hard.
don't prep like that. And I feel like with every sales rep you see, like not every, but like 90% of them, they always end up gaining like, it's like the freshman 15 in college, right? They always gain like 10, 15, 20 pounds when they first get into it until they figure things out because there's
Yeah.
temptation everywhere. You need to eat quick. Well, what's quick for you to get? Crappy fast food and junk, right? And then you're pounding energy drinks because you're constantly needing to have more energy and be over caffeinated. And suddenly you're feeling awful and you can't really perform the way you want to.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is when you see all those memes on LinkedIn, or people hear rumors about sales reps, how they live off of caffeine, they live off of energy drinks. I remember my first phone block. I was sitting down. My sales manager comes in with a case of Red Bull, and he just sets one in front of all of us. He goes, "Let's go," and we all just drank it, and we just went, just call. And I was like, I can't keep doing this, man, because I'm gonna get kidney
Yeah.
stones. It's gonna be a nightmare. But yeah, it's a different world. But on that note, Kevin, I'll let you get back to your family, get back to your son. Once again, congratulations, man. That's outstanding. I was one thing I want to leave you with is I remember meeting your wife Alex and just being taken aback at how down to earth she was. Like she's awesome. So
Amazing.
congratulations on that, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is actually my 4 year anniversary. Did you see that on Facebook? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, well no, I was just being I was just saying, but
Oh
congratulations. I
yeah,
had no
yeah,
idea. That's amazing.
yeah.
Congrats,
Today's
dude.
our 4 year anniversary. So
Okay.
I'm spending the way that I always dreamed I would by talking to Phil Meyer. So thank you.
Yeah, well definitely I'll let you go and get
we're,
back
we're
to family
celebrating
stuff.
tomorrow, man. We're celebrating tomorrow. No worries.
Well
But hey, so
let her know I said I'm sorry for scheduling this on your
no,
phone call.
no, no,
I'm
no. She's
I'm
fine.
sure.
She's watching garbage reality TV. This is probably the best thing she's done. Hey man, again, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I hope I can come on again, and
Yeah.
I'll be a veteran next time. We can talk about some different things. But I had a lot of fun, dude, and it was great to catch up with you.
Thanks, man. You too. And definitely shoot me a private message, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it is. Let me know when you want to come back on. If you have a specific topic you want to talk about, happy to have you
Yeah.
guys on. Maybe we'll do like a you, Julia, and me kind of podcast. We'll have all three of us.
You know what? I'm not sure. I'm interested in working with Julia, but maybe we can talk about that eventually.
All right. All right, brother. You
Just
have a
kidding, just
you have a
kidding.
happy
All
anniversary,
right,
man. We'll talk to you later.
thank you. I appreciate it, brother. Take care.
All right, you too.